Hello, this is another tutorial, specifically not showing how to use any tool or piece of technology, but more of a conversation and a thought regarding flipping your classroom. This is a seminal work here by Jonathan Bergman and Aaron Sams regarding flipping your classroom. This is accessible in the EdTech Guide and at the Baker College Library. And I wanted to have that kind of as the background as I start the conversation. The concept of flipping the classroom is not new. It's been around for a while. And there are different ways that people will flip the classroom. Some of them think about the idea of having students watch videos at home and then come to class and do something with those. I kind of look at it more as levels of Bloom. So lower levels of Bloom's taxonomy activities are actually things that students can engage with at home relatively easily by themselves. And when you bring them into the classroom, you should be focusing on the higher level of Bloom's taxonomy. Essentially, application and above is a good place to start. But oftentimes people that I talk to who are attempting to do this, they're maybe struggling with try to hold students accountable. And this kind of came to me, or was something that I thought I would maybe talk a little bit about when I ran across an article in a journal that I read on occasion called Faculty Focus. And this particular article was about ways to hold your students accountable for pre-class work in that flipped classroom environment. And it was written and put together by Dr. Barb Honeycutt. And I was kind of intrigued as I read it, because I have had questions from people who really want to do something more than just do the video and, okay, now that I've shown them the video, now what do we do? Sometimes we have a little conversation about it in class, but what exactly do we do at that particular point? And she came up with essentially three types of activities or ways that you can hold those students accountable, and I wanted to take this time in this tutorial to show you those. So here are those three ideas from Dr. Honeycutt. First, the ticket to enter. The idea here is that you have given them assignment of something that they have to accomplish. Maybe there's the example here is you watch a video or you do a reading, and then they have to write down three questions, maybe things that they struggled with or they think would be important things to be talking about as part of a class. So then in order to enter the class that day, they walk in and they hand you their ticket. They hand you whatever work that they did, and then that leads to whether it's a full class discussion, work with those particular pieces of paper, or whether this is something that you would break them up into small groups, maybe work on something like have people work with questions or with items that were written down that was not what they had brought, have them work with other ones, or maybe just you as the instructor can kind of skim through those when they come in and kind of determine where you're going to start the class. So that's ticket to enter. So the second one is called choose a side. And so as indicates here, the idea is that there is something that the students engaged with outside of class in which maybe there was a comparison, a contrast situation, opposing points of view, and that would be how you would get them to kind of choose a side as they came into the room. Maybe you have each side of the argument at one of them at one table, one of them at another table, or various parts of the room, or they talk about putting like poster board or big post-it notes up on the wall in the classroom and having the students identify which one of those, with whichever one of those happens to be the point or the side that they fall on, and then they can get into a group discussion just amongst themselves, and then maybe there's a debate, one side versus the other side, but it at least allows them to engage with the content, and they know that when they come to class, the activity that they did at home wasn't just busy work, and there's actually a purpose for that activity. And finally, we have the pass the problem cheat sheet. So this is a situation where there are scenarios, cases, problems, activities that they're going to deal with at home to engage with, and then when they come to class, they are going to be asked to solve, if you will, or at least prepare to discuss that activity, problem, case, whatever it is, and they are allowed to have a piece of paper, one piece of paper where they can jot down all of their notes, all of their arguments, and so forth. And then there's various ways that this activity can happen. You can pass the sheet around amongst the groups, see what other people have brought in. There's a number of different ways that this activity can actually be accomplished. I kind of like this one. There's actually a link in here. Let me see if I can pop it up on another screen for you. That kind of gives a little bit more of a descriptor. And I had to go out and actually link to the article. What I had on the screen before was a screenshot, which was why I couldn't launch it from there. But here is the information on the preparation for how this pass the problem cheat sheet activity can work. So there's some bullet points there on the preparation and the process, and I'm not going to go over this in great detail, but you can pause it right here and either print out the screenshot or just take some notes yourself just to get some ideas. So again, the whole thing here is I've had a number of tutorials on various tools and things that you can use for a flipped classroom environment. When I ran across this article, I thought it might be nice to take a step back and say, okay, you've used a tool. Maybe you've created your own video to share some content with them, or any other activity, maybe using some of the other tech tools that we've provided in the EdTech Guide. And now it's like, okay, so what? So they've done the activity at home, and if you want it to be a meaningful learning experience, if you don't have them come to class to be prepared to discuss and engage with some of the stuff that you had them do at home, after a while it's going to be like a cried wolf situation. Well, why am I bother doing it if we're never talking about it? So that's it, a little bit of holding students accountable for some flipped classroom environment pre-work that you do, and I hope you found this meaningful. Thank you.